Today, his defense attorney said he is a news reporter protected by the First Amendment. Prosecutors said he crossed the line. Supporters of the blogger honked and demonstrated outside the courthouse in Stoughton as Aidan Kearney was led inside wearing handcuffs.
We got your back, Aidan!
On social media, Kearney goes by the name Turtle Boy, and for months he's been following the case of Karen Reed, who's accused of killing a Boston police officer in 2022. Kearney insists Reed is innocent and that investigators have engaged in a cover-up.
And they will never shut me up. They will never, ever stop me from reporting the truth.
But prosecutors say Kearney has gone beyond reporting and has been harassing and intimidating a state police investigator, that investigator's wife, as well as several witnesses in the Reed case. They say he has been calling them, following them, and revealing private information about them and their families. And they say he's been telling tens of thousands of his followers on social media to do the same.
Appears that in the past he's encouraged his followers to take various actions with respect to witnesses in this matter.
The judge agreed to release Kearney without requiring him to post bail, but under orders to stay away from the specific people named as Kearney's alleged intimidation victims. Kearney promised to continue what he has been, which prosecutors say includes online fundraising to the tune of $5 million so far.
What an absurd and ridiculous. I wish. No, I have not made $5 million off of this.
How much have you made?
I have no idea how much you make.
Prosecutors say one of Kearney's followers is a police dispatcher in Avon, and that dispatcher accessed a private law enforcement database in order to provide Kearney with information about the witnesses' vehicles. The Avon Police Department told us late today that a police dispatcher has been placed on paid leave pending an ongoing investigation.
All right, so welcome everyone. It's Mike Sylvia from New Bedford Guide, Fall Reporter. Got guest is the famous Aidan Kearney. You just saw him on YouTube all around the world. Share this, get this out there. Let's get more people on this. If you got some questions for Aidan, pop them in there. I'll take some of the best ones. We'll probably do this for about 30 minutes tonight. Just wanted to get people an update. We did this last time. We had a nice 1,000 viewers. We're up to 400 now. Let's just share this, get this out there. So how's it going, Aidan?
Good, Mike. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I guess let me just go. First of all, everyone out there, obviously, if you want to follow the Canton cover-up stories Aidan's been doing, what number are you up to now?
198, I think I did today.
Yeah. So go to tbdailynews.com. It's
right
in the description. Also, the Legal Defense Fund, if you want to support Aidan, help him pay his legal costs, because we all know these guys charge $400 or $500 an hour, right, to do some emails and other kind of work.
Oh, yeah, this isn't out. I mean, first of all, I'd like to point out I'm like the ideal client because I do a lot of the talking. It's a unique situation we have there. I don't know if you saw the courthouse steps the other day. I got to do a lot of the talking out there, and he just lets me go. It's great. So he's got the ideal client. I'd like to point that out.
Yeah. So if you want to donate to Aidan, click that link, go over there and send some money over. It's going to go and pay for a good cause, I think. All right. So
I agree.
Let me give I read another, just to get an update from Not Your Website. I read a quick article, and it kind of gave me the details for people out there who might not know the Karen Reed case. Let me give a quick summary. Aidan will correct me on anything I got wrong. So the state, meaning district attorney and the police, say she killed John O'Keefe, who's a Boston police officer. They were out drinking. They showed up at the Waterfall Bar and Grill around 10 o'clock, around midnight. It was time to go. They were both drinking. She wanted to go home. Karen Reed, he wanted to keep the party going. So she dropped him off at a friend's house. She woke up on the couch at 4:30. John wasn't there. She kind of panicked. There was a northeaster rolled in, snow, a lot of snow, cold out there. I think it was like 18 degrees out. So she drove around frantically with friends around Canton to look for John. And then she went back to the house where she supposedly dropped him off. He was still alive from what I understand. And then they called the police and the ambulance came and took him. And then she was pretty quickly charged with the death of
manslaughter. She was charged with manslaughter 3 days later.
Yeah, so that's kind of what the 101, if you went to like a Wikipedia short paragraph, why don't you give, obviously you don't do the whole 200 articles, but give kind of what, besides what because actually, let me ask this first. We don't have Discovery yet, do we? The Karen
Oh,
Reed.
oh, there's a lot of discovery. There's like over
Is there?
200. There's like hundreds of pieces of discovery that have been handed over.
Okay, so you actually have all the access to the.
No, I mean not
her
all.
defense.
I mean the defense has all the discovery. We have not seen. We've only seen stuff that appears in that is put in motions.
Okay, and how much of that is out there?
A decent amount, the Google search, interviews with certain people involved in it. But there's some stuff like the 911 tape, for instance, that has been entered into evidence and it has not been released to the public. But I heard it's a doozy. I don't know anything about any 911 tapes, but I heard it's going to be very incriminating to a woman by the name of Jennifer McCabe, the Canton High School class of 1994, best looking. So we'll see.
So if you could, in a kind of, 5-10 minutes, just tell us what you've kind of the big pieces that you've discovered and why you call it the Canton cover up, and kind of who the main actors are and the players are, from the prosecutor to the people that you think that actually murdered him or and then left him out in the snow to die.
So I wouldn't even say it's I discovered. I mean, I have discovered some stuff, but a lot of the stuff comes from public filings by Karen's very well-equipped defense team. And I read their filings, and that's what got me interested in the case. I have since found out more stuff. For instance, I interviewed what I consider to be the biggest smoking gun in this whole case, a plow driver by the name of Brian Lucky Loughran, who up until I spoke with him had never been interviewed by the detectives in this, which is weird because if you're plowing the road, you're going to be a great witness. Obviously, you're going to notice if a body's there. Well, and I read one of Michael Proctor's reports prior to that, which said that no plows had touched Fairview Road that night. And I thought that was odd. So I looked into it and I found out who plowed Fairview Road. And I tracked down Lucky Loughran, and I just gave him a call I got his number. I gave him a call. He answered. We had a 5-minute conversation. I interviewed him, and he told me what he had apparently already told the private investigator for Karen Reed and FBI agents who confronted him. And that was that when he plowed Fairview Road at 2:30 a.m., there was no body on the lawn of 34 Fairview Road. Nobody at 2:30 a.m. Karen Reed allegedly hit him at 12:30 a.m. So if she hit him at 12:30, he would need to be there at 2:30. So there's no body. There's no murder. I asked him again. Could you have missed it? He said no. He doubled down. He said no. I looked side to side. I'm up high, and my lights are on bright, and his body was by a fire hydrant. I'm very careful around fire hydrants. There's no way I would not have seen him. And then he told me a really interesting piece of information here, that at 3 a.m. when he went to go to a second plow through there was a Ford Edge parked right where John O'Keefe's body would later be discovered 3 hours later. So he did not do another plow because the Ford Edge was in the way. And that's odd that a Ford Edge is parked there. Now, the state police never interviewed him until 2 days after I published my story in August. And then they ran down there as fast as they could. And they tried to find out from him, what did the FBI ask you? What did they talk about us? Because the FBI is investigating these crooked cops. And they also kind of inferred with him and pushed him on the idea that perhaps I had either coerced him into saying these things or illegally wiretapped our conversation, because they don't understand how I could have such a good memory about the things that Lucky had told me. So no body, no murder.
Yeah, and I know we had shown photos last time of his arm it looked like a defensive dog wound potentially. And I don't know that a tire I've seen a lot of these like cam shows where police officers and it gets in the gritty, First 48. And I've seen, what a body looks like when it's been run over. And he supposedly had 2 black eyes, laceration to the head. But that arm, looked like these defensive wounds. And I think I read somewhere you said that the dog is gone and then the floor has been replaced at this house behind you.
Yeah, and they sold the house too. It no longer belongs to them. A lot of shady things have happened. Perhaps another very incriminating thing, obviously, is the Google search, the 2:27 a.m. Google search that Jennifer McCabe deleted. in which she searched how long to die in cold at 2:27 a.m. after telling police that she assumed that John O'Keefe had gone home and was safe in bed. Why would she Google that at 2:27 a.m.? It happened. It's undeniable. They're claiming it's not. Even though two experts now have both agreed that it did in fact happen. They don't agree on how it got there, but they both agreed that it did happen at 2:27 a.m. So that immediately in any sane world would get them to drop the charges. And the Lucky Loughran thing would get them to drop that. And they should probably look for the people who actually did it because they murdered a cop. Like, it's kind of a big deal. And they're not doing anything because it's just so blatant to anyone watching this that these filthy animals, these corrupt jerk-offs, are covering for cop killers. They're literal cop killers. And they are doing this to protect their buddies. Not only that, but also send an innocent woman to jail. And now they're trying to lock me up for talking about it.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So my phone blew up, and I think the internet blew up when I got these texts from people that I know, and they're like, Turtle Boy's been arrested. And I'm like, what? And then I texted you because we talk now and then.
You were the first text I got after I got my phone back.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I text you and I'm looking and I'm like, so tell me everyone out there probably saw the video, but if you could do a summary, you were basically sending your kids off to school and you got arrested.
Yeah. I brought my kids to the bus stop at 8:30. We just published the radio transcripts of the radio transmissions of the police. They were sitting, they had my whole neighborhood for like up to a half a mile away surrounded. There was no escape. I didn't even know. They were all over the place in undercovers. They had been staking my house out for days, watching what time kids got on the bus all over the neighborhood, just watching children, which is very creepy. And so I go down there to bring my kids on the bus. I think it's a regular Wednesday. They get on the bus. I try to go back on my driveway when I'm intercepted by this cop in a Silverado who gets out and is like, puts me in cuffs before I realize what the hell's happening. Wait, what's going on? And next thing you know, I'm in cuffs. Like, it happened so fast. I'm like, what the? I wanted to get to my phone. And I'm like, I can't get to my phone. Fuck. And that's why they did it. They didn't want me to get my phone. They didn't want me to tell the world about this. They wanted me to get to court and be alone, etc. So, but they all knew. The bad guys all knew. And they filled the courtroom. They'd probably known about this weeks in advance that this was going to happen. So they tell me they have a search warrant for my house and my car and my phones and computer. They take it all. And they bring me down to Holden Police Barracks where I get my legendary mugshot. And then they asked me for my alias. Did you see the mugshot? Did you see this?
Yeah. You had like the Trump angry mugshot.
Oh, angrier. But it was like the aliases. I'm like, oh, you can call me Daddy. And they put that in there. They actually put it in my alias. Dr. Turtle Boy. It's like wild. It's the best mugshot ever. And so we're sold so many shirts. Anyway, so they bring me down to Stoughton District Court, hour and a half ride. Get down there. Media's already there. A couple of my people are there, but not many. And because they clearly outnumber us. So I wait in jail, hang out in the jail cell for like a couple hours. They bring me upstairs in shackles. And then they're like holding me back. Like I'm like this crazy badass dude that's going to like run. I'm going to make a break for it or some shit. I'm going to go do a live stream if you let me out of these chains. And, I listened to the charges against me read by some guy named Ken Mello, who is the special prosecutor. He's very special. I was told that about a dozen other people, attorneys turned this case down because it's such a fraud. And Ken Mello's like, fuck it, I got nothing to do. I'll do it. I could use the work. So Ken Mello steps up to the plate. He takes this loser case and he reads out the statement of facts. My court-appointed idiot doesn't object to any of this. And I'm listening and I'm glad they read the charging documents because that's when I realized what a joke this was. They're reading the charging documents. It is literally just quoting me on YouTube. Like 90% of this case is things I said on a YouTube stream. The other 10%, and by the way, out of context things, which are done in bad faith, they eliminate entire sentences where I say things like, we come in peace. This is not a threat, stuff like that. So they, at this point, they're reading out the rest of it. And also in the charging documents are that I confronted a lot of these people, right? I went up to them at their kids' lacrosse game, or I knocked on their door. Heavens forbid a reporter knock on someone's door, or that I led a peaceful rolling rally in Canton, where we went from door to door. We went to 4 different homes and the police station and peacefully protested in the street, not on the property, in the street, about the injustice about what these people have been doing to Karen Reed and to John O'Keefe and what they've done and getting into the cover up. And because of that, I am now being charged with witness intimidation for peacefully protesting people who quite clearly are involved in the murder cover up of a Boston police officer. You can't do that in America. So when I heard that, let me tell you, I got excited because I'm like, oh, the First Amendment's on trial. I get to be a national case for the First Amendment trial, and I'm going to win. I'm going to win by so much. This is going to be a complete blow. I get to pants the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. I get to make a fool of poor Ken Mello, who has absolutely no idea what he signed up for. I am going to make these people look like the morons that they are, like the communists, the fascists that they are. How dare they? How dare they try to police speech and say that you can't criticize the government? How dare you talk about government corruption on your show? How dare you even question people who quite clearly are involved in a murder crop route? You can't say things to them, Turtle Boy. You can't do that. Well, I got bad news for them. I can. And we happen to live, the Dedham Superior Court is less than 10 miles from a place where people 250 years ago this December threw a bunch of tea in the ocean and started off a revolution that led to the greatest country in the history of the world being created. One where my rights, the things that I'm doing on this YouTube channel, are guaranteed, God-given rights, guaranteed. And I got bad news for the state police. You are not bigger than the United States Constitution. You are not bigger than this beautiful nation that the founding fathers created. You don't get to erase that because you heard things on a YouTube channel that were truthful and made you feel uncomfortable. I don't give a shit about your comfort. The beauty of protest, as the great AOC once said, as the great Ayanna Pressley once said, as long as there is unrest in the streets, or as long as there is unrest in our lives, there will be unrest in the streets. Or when AOC said, the point of peaceful protests is to disrupt. That is why we protest, to get your attention. Or as John Lewis called it, good trouble. So I got news for them. You're going to lose. And you're not just going to lose. This is going to be the greatest fuck up in the history of any district attorney's office ever. I am going to humiliate, embarrass you, and after every single hearing, I will be on the courthouse steps in front of microphones saying this exact same thing, humiliating you, embarrassing you. And I didn't have Boston 25 News and WCVB sticking microphones in my face a month ago. Now I do, because of these idiots. It's the greatest own goal of all time, and I can't wait to get started.
So what charges are you facing? Are any of them felonies?
Oh, 9 of them are felonies. I'm fighting 8 counts of witness intimidation, felony witness intimidation, 4 counts of picketing, which I didn't even know that's against picketing's against the law, I guess, and you can't picket. That is news to me. Don't tell BLM. And
yeah, I mean, in 2020, that's all I saw.
Yeah, or like, how about all the people that protested outside the homes of Supreme Court justices? Literally,
what do they define picketing as?
I don't know. They're just making this shit up as they go along anyway. They don't know either.
Are you worried though that, like, I just saw a guy who put a meme out during the 2016 election, and it was federal, so it was a little different, but he got sentenced to like a year in jail for putting a meme that I saw thousands of those memes in 2016.
Is that Douglas McRae or whatever his name is?
Yeah, go vote on Wednesday instead of Tuesday.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. And that's in a Washington, D.C. federal court. Yeah. Who's on who's on that jury? And a DC jury? You have no shot. You have no shot.
And that's why they're trying to jump in Manhattan, DC, and Atlanta, right? Because they got these jury pools that voted 95% against them.
Well, that's one thing they're saying about me, is that I'm under arrest because I'm trying to influence a jury pool, right? I'm trying to educate a jury pool. I'm trying to educate the general population in general, including the jury pool of Norfolk County. You're not allowed to educate people. Like that's insane. Oh no, you can't tell the truth because then too many people might hear it and they might get on a jury. What? Like this isn't. When did that become an American value that you can't talk about something because people might hear the truth and they might become influenced by facts? That's what they're worried about here. One of the things I'm being indicted for is a billboard went up in Foxborough and another one's down in Weymouth. That's at Gillette Stadium, free Karen Reed thing. I didn't do it. I didn't pay for it. And even if I did, who cares? All I did was share it and say, I love this. This is great because a lot of people are going to see it. And Foxborough's in Norfolk County. And so that's good. That's potential jurors might see that. And they should be educated on this. And they're saying that is, and I guarantee what I see right here, this is going to appear on a document too. And by the way, Carmella, kiss my ass. I'm going to keep saying it. I don't give a shit.
I'm probably 10 minutes from his house because he's in Fall River. I'm in Swansea. So
mediocre, that guy. I mean, you look at him, you're like, this is the last guy. I mean, he did not come to court prepared on Thursday. The judge treated him like a dumb child the other day. Like he's like, oh, I'll wing it anyway. We'll just go through with it. And the judge was like, I don't think you want to do that. And he asked him 3 times. And the third time, he's like, actually, I might need a break. And so we're going to do it on Wednesday now.
So what's your process between now and a potential court date for you? How many legal challenges you have to do ahead of time and all that? What's your next year look like?
I don't know what the next, so we have a hearing to revise the terms of bail on Wednesday, I apologize. 3:00 at Norfolk Superior Court in Dedham. And if we're successful there, like one of the things we're trying to get rid of is the stay away orders, because I am not allowed to question or investigate 8 of the most important people involved in this story, which makes it impossible for me to do my job. There's no reason for it.
That's probably why they're doing this, right?
That is exactly why they're doing this. They are just trying to make sure that I'm too effective. So I had to be silenced. That is, and I never thought they'd have the balls to do this because of how it would look, but clearly they don't. We're way past caring how things look. They know how it looks and they don't give a shit because they have all the guns. When you have all the guns, you can do whatever you want. That's literally why the Second Amendment was created, to protect us from a tyrannical government that had all the guns. We're learning a lot about the amendments. Where the First Amendment's being violated here. The Fourth Amendment's being violated here. The Second Amendment, we're learning why the Second Amendment exists in the first place, is because of people like this.
They're obviously sending you a message because they could have easily just called you and said, hey, Aiden, come down to the police
totally
station.
They said I was a flight risk.
Yeah, they could have just said, hey, come down to the police station. But they do this, right? You have CNN waiting in front of like political opponents' houses. They send 20 FBI to SWAT someone's house. And the guy's like some elderly guy that just did something like, against the federal government. So yeah, they're sending you a message, and then they did it. They made sure you were dropping your kids off when they came and arrested you.
Yeah, I mean, that's messed up to do. Like, if I was an actual violent felon, it was the fugitive unit that got me. Like, they take down the baddest boys in the state. And if I was their typical kind of person they go after, a dangerous violent felon who might flee and has nothing to lose, they did that in front of a school bus full of other people's children. And they'd never alerted the Holden police that this was going to happen. And it just proves that they know I wasn't a violent threat. They know this was all for show. And they thought they could crush my spirits because, he's probably soft. He lives in the suburbs. We'll put him in cuffs for the first time. He'll cry like a baby. Unfortunately, now they realize that daddy isn't here to play, and they messed with the wrong guy. And now it's time to fuck. We got to go. Let's go. Let's just get in a room and get this over with. Let's go.
Now they messed up right away, right? They said that you had raised $5 million, but that was like a rugby player, right?
As soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh my God, this whole thing's a joke. Wow. I thought they might have had something. I'm like, what, did I do something I didn't remember? And then they read that out. I'm like, oh, they're just making shit up. Okay. So I'm not worried about that. $5 million. They Googled me and they found an Irish rugby player named Aidan Carney, who they estimate his net worth is between $1 and $5 million. And they're like, he made $5 million. First of all, if I did, who cares? You're allowed to make $5 million in this country. But to be clear, I did not. I wish I made $5 million. I wouldn't give a fuck. I would have I would have a defense team of 20.
Were they trying to use that to get your bail high, or why were they trying to use
No,
that?
they were trying to say that all of this witness intimidation and all this is just for clicks and money and you know, I don't actually mean any of it, and I'm just harassing
So-
these people. I'm not a legitimate journalist.
So they're going to arrest Jerry Springer next, and everyone else who's done, something that wasn't true, even if it, I'm not saying
Only if
that's
they're
true.
only if they're making $5 million.
Yeah.
But yes, we should all be worried about the ramifications of this. I mean, how many? Mike Bodette made a career doing this in Boston News. Hank Philippi Ryan made a career doing this, confronting people in public, asking them tough questions. Sometimes they freak out on you, they flip out on you. James O'Keefe, the list goes out. How about Alex Stein? You know Alex Stein?
Yeah.
Like every one of his videos is ambush journalism. That's literally his bread and butter, is what he does.
People do those police audits and they go to the police station.
Yes.
Cameras in the police face.
But those people are not as effective as me. And that's why they're coming after me. Oh, and you know what's really messed up is the same cops who arrested me and came to my house and charged me are the ones that I've been criticizing. The same DA and the same cops. And normally people would be like, that's a bad look. Maybe we shouldn't arrest the guy who's criticizing us. But they did, because they don't give a shit how it looks. So I know that little Brian Tully is watching this right now, and he's trying to take notes about little things. Brian, just understand when this is all over, dude, I'm going to own your house. I'm going to own your wife. I'm going to own everything. This is the biggest fuck up you ever made, my dude. And you can do what you want. I don't want you to stop, Brian Tully. I am looking forward to emasculating you in court, to humiliating you. So this is not witness intimidation, Brian Tully. I'm not trying to tell you to drop the charges. I want the charges. I love the charges. I've been dying to get in a courtroom with a bunch of cameras and just emasculate you to no end and lecture you and teach you about how the First Amendment works.
Yeah, it seems like you go through it. They making you so you can't talk to 9 witnesses. They arrest you in front of your children, and then they seize all your media assets, right?
That's right. So I had to get I had to get a new phone that day. I lost contacts. It's a pain in the ass. I can't get on. You sent the link to this to Clarence Woods Emerson. I had to tell you, I don't have access to that anymore because they have that phone. So I can't even get on. So the police
they're trying to castrate you as a journalist.
Yes, exactly what they're doing. They're trying to chop off my journalistic balls, but they're way too big and they barely put a dent in it. And there's nothing they can do about it. They're trying to kill my spirit and also they have severely damaged my brand moving forward, because who would ever trust sending sensitive information to me again, knowing that at any point some corrupt cop like Brian Tully can trump up some bullshit fake charges, get some idiot judge like Judge O'Shea to sign a warrant and just, oh yeah, fuck it, you can take his phone. It's not like privacy rights mean anything in this country. It's no big deal. Just take his goddamn phone.
So I'm just going to guess your agenda is obviously to win the court case, and then are you going to do a lawsuit against?
We're going to sue their faces off. Oh, we already have a big team moving on this, man, doing legal research. I have a nonprofit in Manhattan that is already organizing a team, and her quote with this was that she's in this for the money. She's perfectly honest with me. She's like, I would not waste my time with you if I did not see dollar signs at the end of this.
That's who you want, though.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want somebody who's doing this for altruistic reasons. I want somebody who's trying to get cash money and who's not going to waste their time on a loser case. And the fact that she's this interested in it makes me realize we're onto something here.
Yeah,
Let's
you better
go.
with something like that than say the ACLU. That's just gonna
do it on principle.
Yeah, you want someone who's gonna get 40% or something like that, right?
Exactly. I mean, she can take as much as she wants. I really don't give a shit. I just want to emasculate them. That's because I'll be fine after this anyway. I've already signed a deal with a documentary company, Star Film. It's happening, man. Big things are happening for Turtle Boy coming real soon, and this helped immensely.
Yeah. So, how has the media treated you? Outside of me and you, we've been friends for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years now. Back when you wrote your book and all that kind of stuff. We've interviewed a bunch of times, but how is the mainstream media? How have they been treating you?
The only media outlet that has covered this story appropriately is Canton Access Television, local to Canton CC. They do a great job. They come
access.
Yeah, they come to everything. Shout out to them. They come to every event. They cover it properly. They get the facts out there, etc. They seem to be the only media outlet that's actually interested in the truth out there. As far as the corporate-owned entities, Ted Daniel is a mainstay at every I think Ted Daniel is on our side. I wish he would be more aggressive in his journalism. Maybe he doesn't want to get locked up like I am. But these, like, when I look at, and I'm going to remember this, I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at the headlines of every media outlet. And it's like Mass Live, WCVB, 7 News. You look at the headlines and it says, blogger arrested for witness intimidation. Prosecutors say ... It's always prosecutors say, like, who gives a shit what prosecutors say? The question is, if you want to actually report on this, the question is what happened. Like, who cares what prosecutors say happened? What actually happened? Actually do some work, like research into this, look into this. And they don't do that. All the mainstream media has been taught to do is regurgitate press conferences, regurgitate police reports, regurgitate whatever DAs say in court, and just write down, well, here's what they said and here's what they said. But that's not really reporting. Like a mouse could do that. A machine could do that. You don't, like, you're so easily replaceable if that's all you're trained how to do. The question is, who digs? And the reason that I'm so successful at doing this is I'm the only one who digs.
Yeah, we just saw New York Times have to apologize. They wrote Israel strikes hospital per Hamas, and then it turned out
Per
it
Hamas.
wasn't. Yeah,
Yes.
per Hamas. So that you could just, why would you even go forward with that story? Right. But they did.
I mean, that's true. It's a true headline per Hamas, but like that, you only get so many words in a headline, and that's what you get to put out there. I mean,
And
the
we know
headline,
people don't read the articles,
right?
They see the headline, they make their judgment, and they go forward with it.
The appropriate headline would have been award-winning journalist charged with 9 felonies for questioning authority or questioning the government or investigating corruption. That is what the headline should have been, because that is a more accurate description of what actually happened.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good Netflix series. What about friends and family? How's it taking a toll on you and your family or friends? And
with my kids is we don't go there. Like they know something happened, but we don't really talk about it. My friends all have my back. My family all has my back. And my family's not always the biggest fan of what I do, but on this one they are, because this is a principle thing. This is like severely, like, you got my mom fired up. My mom usually is like laid back about this stuff. Would prefer if I was less controversial. She's all fired up about it. You got her fired up. You're doing something severely wrong. It's even united conservatives and liberals alike across the political spectrum, because I think one thing we all agree on is that, like, you can't go around killing people, dumping them on lawns, and then framing innocent women. Like, that's not a political thing. That's just, you can't do it. Big no. And so even my biggest critics, or some of them, have said, I don't agree with Turtle Boy on a lot of stuff, but this is a bridge too far. And this has made me realize that the shit I was on the fence about Karen Read. Some people say I'm no longer on the fence. Like, this is just so obvious now that they are covering this up.
And the Canton has a history of some stuff with the police department and prosecutor, right? I think you've uncovered some things.
Canton does? What do you mean?
Like the police department and have these police officers done stuff in the past, or is this the first time you've seen these guys behave badly?
First time.
Oh, okay.
So, like, I mean, that's the thing, is that these people have conducted investigations properly in the past. Like, for instance, Michael Proctor is the lead investigator in the Brian Walsh murder, the guy who killed his wife on New Year's Eve and Googled, like, how to dismember a 115 pound body if you really need to, in case anyone's reading, if you need to. So, like, it was handled properly. There was another Braintree murder a couple months afterwards, where the entire scene was cordoned off and had crime scene tape. Check out a channel called Microdots for a good analysis on how the difference between the way Proctor handled the Braintree murder and the Canton murder. It is night and day. It is like, Michael Proctor is not incompetent. He is corrupt. He is intentional. He knows what he should be doing to investigate this case. He knows how to solve and figure out who murdered John O'Keefe, but he already knows. And that's why he's blaming Karen Read, because he already knows who murdered John O'Keefe, and he's just intentionally choosing not to use the things that he learned in the academy in order to make sure that the people who did this don't have to pay the price for it.
Let me take a couple of questions. So Doug S says, when is the FBI going to do something?
That's a $1 million question. $1 million question. you know, I think they're done arresting grandmas at J6. I think they're good with that. So we'll see. But we need them to, you know, I'm not witness intimidation. I'm not telling them what to do, but we could really use your help right around now, guys, because shit's getting real. How many people got to get locked up now before you do something? Let's go.
So what if you could just tell me about the latest article you wrote for this Canton cover up?
What, the one today?
Yeah, what's like the most recent one?
All right. So unfortunately, because of my new arrest, I've become the topic, and my case is kind of taken over a little bit.
I know it's like your last 8 articles were more about you.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. But you know what? It's the Karen Reed case has died down a little bit in that regard. There's a lull until the next hearing. But like today I wrote about the upcoming hearing on Wednesday. You know, I've talked about let's see, what else have I done? It's Can't Cover Ups. The Colin Albert is alleged victim of witness intimidation from July. 8 voicemails despite not being an action. Oh yeah, like we found out that like one of the witnesses I'm accused of intimidating on July 8th by leaving a voicemail on his voicemail had never been interviewed by the police on July 8th, Colin Albert. So how can you be a witness if you were never interviewed by police? It makes no sense whatsoever. So this is what I do. I just kind of find little shits, little pieces in there and put it all together. I had a blog last week about how they got the probable cause warrant to go in my house. They found out what time I took a leak in Norfolk Superior Court on July 25th because I went in the bathroom at the same time as a state trooper and I started asking him questions in there. When he left the bathroom, I put a camera, my phone on top of the urinal, but he was gone. And I filmed it for 10 seconds, pretending he was right next to me. And I'm like, oh yeah, so you still playing taillight? Something like that. It's like 10 seconds long. And I put it on Twitter to see if they fall for it. And they did. And they used that video, even though they said I wiretapped them, except there's no audio of him. You can't wiretap somebody if you don't hear their voice because he wasn't in the bathroom. So they used that as probable cause to get a warrant to search my house. So now we're going to try to suppress the warrant because there was no grounds for it in the first place. They think there's more shit in my phone, evidence of wiretapping. Ain't nothing there. There's some weird shit in there, not going to lie, but it's got nothing illegal. I'll tell you that much.
Super happy there are people like Aiden around, do the job no one else has the balls to do.
Thanks, Jennifer. Oh, Jennifer, that's my neighbor. I love her. Thank you very much for the letter, Jennifer. I meant to stop by. Thank you very much.
Yeah, there's hundreds of comments here. I'll try if I can go through a couple of them. Turtle Boy hurts some people's feelings who have the thinnest skins.
True.
Yeah, I think this is I think this is, you know, it kind of shows a competency if they confuse you for a Irish rugby player.
That's when I realized this was going to be an easy one. It's going to be like, we're going to dunk on these guys. We're going to have a great time. Oh.
Yeah, there's just a lot of comments here to go through. Mostly just let's see here. Yeah, I just, you know, I think we could keep doing this and get updates, especially now we got 2 things to follow. We got to follow your case. Got to follow Karen Reed case. So when is the Karen Reed case actually? Is it scheduled already?
The next hearing is, I think, January 8th or something like that. I don't know the exact day. There's just a couple pre-trial. I think there's like 2 or 3 more scheduled hearings before the trial, which is scheduled to begin on March 12th. I doubt it'll happen by March 12th. It seems a little rushed, but I mean, I'm ready. I think Karen Reed is ready. I think she wants to get this over with because this is no way to live. Now, one of the things I'm being charged with is that I said that, what did I say? That I think I said I don't want this to go to trial. And they're saying that is evidence that I'm like obstructing justice. That's like saying, like, they're going to file a motion to dismiss. They haven't done that yet. They're going to file a motion to dismiss. I think that should be granted. That doesn't, like, that's what I mean by that. I don't think they should go to trial. Like, I don't think, I think this should be dismissed before trial. You're allowed to have that opinion in the United States of America. They're literally charging me with witness intimidation because I have an opinion about a legal matter.
Yeah, it seems flimsy, the charges. Have you ever met Karen Reed?
I've seen her in court. I've met her family. I talked to them not every day or anything like that, but I've had many pleasant conversations with them. But Karen likes to keep a distance, I think, between herself and me, simply because they're after her, for one thing. They're after her. And number two, it just, affects my professional reputation if, she's my BFF or something like that. But I fully support her.
Yeah.
I think after this is all over, her and I will be friends. But for now, it's about business.
And she's facing manslaughter charges, right?
As well as second-degree murder.
And second-degree murder.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. A big upgrade. I mean, she was originally charged with only manslaughter, and then that magically got upgraded 4 months later to murder, despite no real evidence coming forward to really justify that. Like, how did it turn from an accident to intentional? Like, how does that happen?
I don't know. Like, based on the discovery you've seen, I'm not following it like you are, but I haven't seen anything besides a broken taillight on a car. But that's still like, that could have happened, some other way.
They kept finding broken. You smash it up, you put it on there. So they found broken. So I'd like to point out the Canton police, when they got there at 6 o'clock, did not find any taillight. There's only 2 inches of snow. There was no taillight on the ground. In the next 3 weeks, they periodically found 35 pieces of taillight, 35. And then Michael Proctor didn't even record that he was going there. He just kept finding new taillight for the next 3 weeks. And so they somehow missed all of that. And they found it after more snow had accumulated. They found, which the Canton police somehow missed. It's the most obvious frame job ever. And it's a joke that this is even moving forward.
Yeah. What about the library film that disappeared? They supposedly they have all the film besides this one part where she should have driven past and would have a broken taillight. Is that?
Yeah. Just in case this couldn't get shadier, the library is in the middle of town, and it's got it's where Karen would have gone right by it after she left Fairview Road and went back to John's house. So in that case, any camera would have picked up Karen's taillight, the state of her taillight, as she drove by. So if it's broken, then she killed John O'Keefe. If it's not broken, then she didn't kill John O'Keefe, and the taillight was planted sometime later on. Conveniently, the Canton Library video that was handed over to police was missing 3 minutes from 12:37 to 12:39, which happens to be the exact same time that Karen would have driven by there, and it's just gone. The rest of the night, the video works fine. But at those critical 2 minutes, it just stopped working, and we're supposed to believe this is all on the up and up. Okay.
And you, on the way to the courtroom, you talked about the Ford Edge. This is a car that was supposedly there that the snow plow driver saw.
I had an hour and a half to think about what I was going to say as soon as I got out of that car, or if the media was there. And I'm like, what am I going to go with? It's going to be a short perp walk, so I got to get it all out. I'm going to go with the Ford Edge, because the Ford Edge being parked there at 3 a.m., when Lucky Loughran told Michael Proctor and Yuri Buchanan about that Ford Edge on August 10th, 2023, they now know that Karen Read didn't do this, because there was no body there at 2:30 and there was a Ford Edge there at 3. They now know that Ford Edge was involved in the murder of John O'Keefe. They know that John O'Keefe was a Boston police officer, and they know that the thin blue line dictates that when an officer is killed, it's a different kind of murder. And there should be an all points bulletin out for whoever drove that Ford Edge. As it so happens, there are 4 members of the Albert family who own a Ford Edge. And so all I could think of the whole way down is they have put so much work into whatever charges I'm about to have read to me in court, probably months worth of work. What have they done to find the whoever was driving that Ford Edge? What have they done? Because that's an easy one. You could probably find out who's driving that Ford Edge real quick if you have the resources that the police do. And so as soon as I got out of the car, that's the first thing. You guys find that Ford Edge yet? You guys looking to find that Ford Edge that was parked outside of 34 Fairview? And it got the attention. Obviously, you remember hearing that. And when I went out in front of the cameras later on, the good reporters asked me, what were you talking about with the Ford Edge? Now, they shouldn't have to ask that. Like, they should know the answer to that, because it's such a huge piece of news. Why don't they know about the Ford Edge? But it gave me an opportunity to educate them, which I guess is witness intimidation now when you educate the public about something, but I educated the public on video about the fact that a Ford Edge was parked there, and instead of looking for the driver of that Ford Edge, they are attempting to charge me, a blogger, or not blogger, an award-winning journalist. We got to get used to that, get in the habit, who simply made comments on a YouTube show that were critical of the government, and that's why I'm in chains.
All right, share this, guys. We're almost at 1,000. Let's get it up there. So, yeah, I think this is the thing too. Second-degree murder seems way over the top. I don't see any jury could possibly, even if you thought this was all, that she did it, there's no way that she recollects it. There is no, I don't know there's any direct evidence, especially today with all these ring cams and all these kind of things. There's nothing that shows her running him over. Just because they had a fight, or a disagreement earlier on, it just seems like, because I understand first degree is premeditated, right? I plan to go kill someone.
That's right.
Second degree is maybe I was going to rob a store and I killed the clerk, but I didn't go there intent to do it, right? And then you got involuntary and there's different kind of manslaughters, and that's just kind of like totally like a drunk driver might get manslaughter, right? Because they're so drunk they don't remember they were blacked out. But second degree, it seems like way overcharge.
Yeah, and the goal is to get her to take a plea. That's the only reason they did that.
They overcharge you, and then we'll just plead a manslaughter. We'll drop the second.
Because they knew right away that the Alberts and McCabe's were responsible for this, and they're like, we need this to go away. We need this to be adjudicated, and so it doesn't. So we're gonna scare the shit out of her, just like they tried to scare the shit out of me by upping these charges, and because I'm facing 120 years too. Do I look scared? I don't give a shit. Neither does Karen Reed. And because the facts are on our side, and her and I will never spend a night in jail, either of us. And so they attempted to do that in order to somebody's facing that much time. They're like, she has no record. She could probably take a plea on manslaughter if she wanted to, and maybe serve 6 months, if that, with some probation. But or she could serve none, which is what's going to happen. And she can do what I'm doing and embarrass the government, humiliate them, show how truly corrupt they are. What Karen Reed is doing is heroic. It's historic. She is fixing a problem. She is shining light on a problem. She is not giving up. And so that is why so many of us back her up unequivocally.
Okay. So summary is her trial is scheduled for March
12th, as of right now.
March 12th. And you're right now in kind of the pre-hearings and all that. You don't really have a court date yet.
Oh, for me or her?
She's in March, but
yeah,
you're still in the pre-trial stuff, right?
We're in the baby days.
Yeah, you're early on.
We're filing motions. Yeah, we're gonna file a motion to dismiss in a couple weeks, I believe. But first, we want to really humiliate these people. We've just started. But yeah, she has March 12th, and she has a couple more pre-trial whatevers, just to make sure. I don't know how this works, but March 12th is go time as of right now.
Okay. Anything you want to close with before we close this out?
Yeah, Chloe sucks. Stop asking about Chloe, guys. Chloe can fuck off. Chloe's burning in doggy hell right now. Chloe's a bad dog who helped kill a Boston police officer, and I don't give a shit if Chloe's alive or dead. Chloe deserves to be dead. She's a bad dog.
Yeah, we that's interesting how the floor, the basement floor is remodeled, the dog is gone, the house is sold. Kind of is like I get from the devil advocate side. It's like, okay, there was someone died in front of my lawn. I'm gonna move out in my driveway. I'm gonna get out of here. But it also kind of points to some I don't know. I just couldn't get past looking at that arm and how it was torn up, and I don't know how a car would do that. I just don't.
Neither do they, and they still haven't come up with an explanation for how it happened, because if you do try to come up with an explanation, you're going to end up looking like this guy named Kevin from the Yellow Brick Road or whatever, Yellow Tails, something like that. He has a YouTube channel, I guess, where he's the first person to put together like a reenactment of how he thinks it happened and how he believes, and it's just comical. And you're like, oh my God, but at least he gave it a shot. And it's just like, I can't wait to hear the government's explanation for how the scratches got there. It is going to be a trip. Like, I've never seen a murder case turn into a comedy act, but that's what the Karen Reed murder case will turn into. It will be non-stop laughter. You'll be like, oh my God. Oh my God. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right. So anything you want to close with, Aiden?
No, I think we're good. I appreciate you having me on, and thanks for taking interest in this case. And again, I'll be in court on Wednesday in Dedham with my attorney to fight for reduced bail conditions.
Yeah, we'll bring you on a couple of, between now and March a few times, and obviously your case. And then I'll see if I can find the time to write up some stuff as well. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Really tough covering everything. But all right, cool. Thanks, guys, out there. Click that share button, get it out there, let people see the stuff. This is how, me and Aiden had a connection years ago because we're independent journalists. We're up
True.
against the corporate media. We do our own thing from our house. We have a small, I actually have a small team. Aiden used to have some writers, right?
I have some people behind the scenes. I got Richie, the camera guy.
Yep.
I got Laura doing the YouTube stuff. And I also have a team of people who are just helping out with the Free Karen Read movement and now the Free Turtle Boy movement. We had a Halloween party the other day, man. It was organized by these people, the Roccos, who were like a godsend. And who have raised, I believe, I don't even know how many thousands, like probably $50,000, $60,000 at least for the Karen Read Defense Fund. And now they're helping raise money for my defense fund as well. But I see Erica Walsh in the comments right now, another one by the name of Jen. So it's a team of people. It's not just me fighting this. There's a team behind this, and there's an army of people behind this who are helping, who are dedicated to doing this, who are volunteering their time. And when this is all said and done, man, it's going to be a great feeling. I can't wait.
Yeah, and I see you can see here these guys did a standout. I sent you that. Oh, not wrong one. The comments coming in quick. You saw that video I sent you. They do a standout.
Yes. They're all over the state, Mike. They're at every overpass in the Commonwealth now. They're in Central Mass. They're in the North Shore. They're in the South. They're in Bristol County, Plymouth County, Norfolk County. They are everywhere doing these standouts. These people, and it's great. It's a movement.
Where's the best place people can contact you and get the volunteer and stuff?
You can either email me at Turtleboy. First of all, if you're on Facebook, join the Justice for John O'Keefe and Karen Read official Facebook group. There's another group which is owned by some lunatic who won't shut her page down. It causes confusion, but join the Turtleboy official group. It is where the real players are. So join that group. There's a lot of announcements made in there about protests, dates, stuff like that.
Yeah, and click on that defense fund, $5-10. If hundreds of people, contribute, you get some money towards Karen Read, but also Aiden, because it's not cheap. These lawyers aren't cheap, especially the good ones. And like you said, you don't want one of those public defenders.
Yeah, that guy I had a public defender the first day. I'm like, wow, that didn't go well. Okay, never doing that again.
But forget social justice. Just get real lawyers instead of these defense lawyers, because that's why our prisons are full, right?
I mean, you realize that. You're like, man, you can get. I've learned a lot I've kind of turned a little liberal on this shit, man, about like, as far as criminal justice goes, I'm like, our justice system is really fucked up. It's really like, it works against people who don't have money. It's really like, it's not fair. Like, people shouldn't get locked up for something they didn't do because they don't have the money. If Karen Read was poor, she'd be in jail by now. It's messed up.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, it's late, almost 10 o'clock. So thanks for tuning in, guys. And we'll have Aiden back on in a couple of weeks and keep updating on the case. Head over to his website if you want to get information. He's almost up to 200 articles on the Canton cover-up. And we are out.